There's a unique strength that comes from being alone, one that can't be fully understood until we've experienced it. When we're surrounded by others, it's easy to rely on their opinions, their support, or even their presence to guide us. But in moments of solitude, we are left with ourselves, our thoughts, our emotions, and our own inner voice. While this can feel intimidating at first, it is in these moments of aloneness that we uncover the deep reservoir of strength that has always been within us. Being alone challenges us to face ourselves without distractions. In a world full of noise and constant activity, it's tempting to avoid quiet moments. Yet it's in those very moments that we realize we have everything we need to persevere and thrive. We often underestimate our own capabilities because we're so accustomed to leaning on others. But solitude teaches us that our strength is not dependent on external support. It's already inside us, waiting to be discovered and activated. There's a profound shift that happens when you begin to trust yourself in your alone time. You stop looking for validation from others and start finding confidence in your own decisions. You begin to realize that your worth isn't tied to what people think of you or how they respond to you. Instead, it's rooted in who you are, your values, your dreams, and your unique journey. This kind of self-reliance is empowering because it frees you from the need to constantly seek approval or reassurance. Being alone also gives us the opportunity to confront and overcome our fears. When we're with others, we might avoid addressing certain insecurities or doubts, distracting ourselves with conversation or activity. But solitude shines a light on these inner struggles, not to discourage us, but to help us grow. It's in facing those fears head on, without the safety net of others, that we learn just how resilient we are. We realize that the challenges we thought would break us are actually the very things that strengthen us. One of the most powerful aspects of being alone is the sense of peace it can bring. In solitude, we are free from the expectations and pressures that often come with being around others. We don't have to explain ourselves, defend our choices, or meet anyone else's standards. Instead, we can simply be. This freedom allows us to recharge, refocus, and reconnect with who we truly are. It reminds us that our value isn't determined by what we do or how we perform, but by the fact that we exist. Solitude also helps us to develop clarity about our goals and priorities. When we're constantly surrounded by input from others, it can be hard to distinguish our own desires from the expectations of those around us. But when we spend time alone, we have the space to listen to our own hearts. We can ask ourselves the important questions: what do I really want? What's important to me? This clarity helps us make decisions that align with our true selves, leading to a more authentic and fulfilling life. Embracing aloneness doesn't mean shutting people out or isolating yourself indefinitely. Instead, it's about creating intentional moments where you can step away from the world and tap into your own power. These moments aren't just a luxury, they're a necessity. They allow you to build a foundation of inner strength that supports you through life's challenges. As we go through life, there will be times when we find ourselves alone, whether by choice or circumstance. Instead of fearing those moments, we can learn to embrace them as opportunities for growth. Solitude is not a sign of weakness. It's a space where strength is cultivated. So the next time you find yourself alone, remember this: you are more powerful than you realize. Your strength doesn't come from those around you, it comes from within. And when you learn to draw on that strength, there's nothing you can't overcome. Thank you. I am the constant busyness of life. Clarity can often feel like a rare gift. With so many voices competing for our attention, our work, relationships, responsibilities, and the endless stream of information, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. That's why being alone is so powerful. Solitude gives us the space to step away from the noise, reflect on our lives, and reconnect with what's most important. It's in those quiet moments, free from distraction, that we gain the clarity we need to move forward with purpose and intention. When we're surrounded by the hustle and bustle of daily life, our thoughts can feel scattered. We're constantly pulled in different directions, trying to juggle tasks and meet expectations. This state of constant activity can leave us feeling overwhelmed and disconnected from ourselves. But when we intentionally step back and spend time alone, we create a space where our minds can rest and reset. It's like clearing a foggy windshield. The chaos begins to fade, and we can finally see the road ahead. Solitude allows us to reflect on where we are and where we're going. It gives us the opportunity to ask ourselves meaningful questions. Am I on the right path? Am I pursuing the things that truly matter to me? These are questions that often get lost in the rush of everyday life, but they are crucial to living with purpose. When we take the time to listen to our own inner voice, we can align our actions with our values and goals. This alignment brings a sense of peace and direction that can't be found in the noise of the outside world. Clarity gained in solitude also helps us make better decisions. When we're constantly surrounded by opinions and advice from others, it can be difficult to distinguish our own thoughts from the voices around us. While seeking guidance is valuable, there are moments when we need to trust ourselves and our intuition. Being alone gives us the chance to tune out external influences and listen to our own wisdom. It's in these moments of quiet reflection that we often find the answers we've been searching for. Sometimes the clarity that comes from solitude reveals that we need to make changes in our lives. Perhaps we've been holding on to things that no longer serve us, relationships, habits, or even mindsets. When we create space for reflection, we can recognize these patterns and take steps to let go of what's holding us back. This process isn't always easy, but it's necessary for growth. Solitude helps us see the bigger picture and gives us the courage to make choices that align with our true selves. There's also a certain beauty in discovering clarity through simplicity. When we strip away the distractions and focus on the essentials, we realize that life doesn't have to be as complicated as it sometimes feels. We begin to appreciate the small, meaningful moments, the quiet joy of a sunrise, the satisfaction of a deep breath, or the comfort of our own company. These moments remind us that true fulfillment isn't found in the noise, but in the quiet, simple spaces of our lives. Spending time alone and finding clarity isn't about isolating ourselves from others. It's about creating balance. It's about carving out moments to pause, breathe, and reflect so that we can return to our lives with renewed focus and energy. Solitude is a gift we give to ourselves, a chance to step away from the chaos and reconnect with our purpose. As we navigate life, there will always be distractions, challenges, and noise. But when we make time for solitude, we gain the clarity to see through it all. We find the strength to move forward, the wisdom to make better choices, and the peace to embrace life as it unfolds. So let us not fear being alone, but embrace it as a powerful tool for clarity and growth. In those quiet moments, we discover the clarity to live fully, love deeply, and walk confidently into the future. Thank you. Creativity is one of the most extraordinary gifts we possess, but it often flourishes in solitude. When we're surrounded by noise, distractions, or the constant demands of others, our minds can feel cluttered, leaving little room for inspiration to take root. However, when we intentionally carve out time to be alone, we create a space where our thoughts can wander, our imagination can take flight, and new ideas can emerge. Solitude isn't just a retreat, it's a powerful incubator for creativity. When we're alone, we're free from the influence and expectations of others. We don't have to explain ourselves, defend our ideas, or worry about how they'll be received. This freedom allows us to explore new possibilities without fear of judgment or rejection. It's in these quiet, unguarded moments that we often stumble upon our best ideas, the kind that surprise even us. Creativity thrives in this atmosphere of openness and curiosity, where our minds are free to think beyond the ordinary and venture into the extraordinary. Solitude also gives us the time and space to listen to our inner voice. In the busyness of life, that voice can easily be drowned out by the opinions and input of others. But when we're alone, we can tune into our own thoughts, feelings, and insights. We can ask ourselves questions like, what do I want to create? What story do I want to tell? What problem do I want to solve? These moments of introspection are where creativity begins as we connect with our passions and uncover what truly inspires us. Being alone also allows us to enter a state of deep focus, often referred to as flow. In this state, time seems to stand still and we become fully immersed in whatever we're creating. This level of concentration is difficult to achieve when we're surrounded by distractions or interruptions. But in solitude, we can dedicate ourselves fully to the creative process, letting our ideas develop and evolve without interruption. It's in this focused space that breakthroughs happen and visions come to life. Another beautiful aspect of solitude is that it encourages experimentation. When we're alone, we can try new things without the fear of failing in front of an audience. We can take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them in a safe and private space. This freedom to experiment is essential for creativity because it allows us to push boundaries and discover new approaches. Often, the most innovative ideas come from a willingness to explore the unknown, and solitude provides the perfect environment for that kind of exploration. It's also important to recognize that creativity isn't limited to traditional forms of art, like painting or writing. It's about finding innovative solutions to problems, thinking outside the box, and bringing something new into the world. Whether it's designing a business strategy, planning a family event, or reimagining a personal goal, creativity touches every aspect of our lives. And the time we spend alone, nurturing our ideas and exploring our imagination, is what fuels that creativity in all its forms. But perhaps the most profound thing about creativity in solitude is the sense of connection it brings not just to our ideas, but to ourselves. When we create, we tap into something deeply personal and authentic. We express who we are, what we believe, and what we dream of. In those moments, we're not just making something new, we're discovering more about ourselves. Solitude becomes a mirror, reflecting back our unique gifts and reminding us of our limitless potential. As we embrace the power of solitude for creativity, let us not see being alone as a limitation, but as an opportunity. It's in those quiet moments that we unlock our imagination, find solutions to our challenges, and bring our visions to life. So whenever you find yourself alone, don't fill the silence with distractions. Embrace it, cherish it, and use it as a space to create, innovate, and dream. Because in the stillness of solitude, the seeds of greatness are planted. Thank you that being alone has a way of bringing us face to face with ourselves in a way that nothing else can. In those quiet moments of solitude, we have the opportunity to nurture a deeper relationship with who we are, to strengthen our self-worth, and to grow in self-love. There's a power in learning to enjoy your own company, a strength in being comfortable with yourself, and a peace in knowing that your value isn't determined by others, but by the unique individual you are. When we're constantly surrounded by people, it's easy to measure our worth by external factors. We might seek validation through compliments, approval, or attention. While these things can feel good in the moment, they're fleeting, and they don't create the kind of lasting confidence we need to truly thrive. Solitude, on the other hand, offers us a chance to turn inward, to look past what others say or think, and to find our value within ourselves. It's in those moments of aloneness that we begin to see that we are enough not because of what we do, but because of who we are. Spending time alone allows us to listen to our own thoughts and feelings without interruption. It's like sitting with a close friend and having an honest conversation, except this time the friend is you. You start to notice what brings you joy, what drains your energy, and what makes you feel alive. You begin to understand your needs, your desires, and your boundaries. This self-awareness is the foundation of self-love, because you can't truly care for yourself if you don't know yourself. Solitude also gives us the freedom to embrace our true selves without fear of judgment. When we're alone, we don't have to put on a facade or try to fit into someone else's expectations. We can simply be ourselves, flaws and all. This authenticity is liberating, and it reminds us that we are worthy of love and acceptance just as we are. The more time we spend alone, the more we realize that we don't need to change ourselves to be valued. Instead, we learn to celebrate the unique qualities that make us who we are. Another beautiful aspect of being alone is the chance to invest in ourselves. When we're constantly focused on others, it's easy to neglect our own needs and aspirations. But solitude gives us the time and space to focus on what matters to us. It might be pursuing a hobby, setting personal goals, or simply taking time to rest and recharge. These acts of self-care are not selfish, they're essential. They're a way of saying, I matter. My well-being matters when we prioritize ourselves in this way, we build a stronger foundation of self-worth and confidence. Being alone also teaches us resilience. It shows us that we can stand on our own, face challenges, and overcome obstacles without relying on others to carry us. This doesn't mean we don't need support or connection. It simply means that we recognize our own strength. We realize that we are capable of handling whatever life throws our way, and this realization gives us a sense of empowerment that no one can take away. Learning to love ourselves in solitude isn't always easy. It can be uncomfortable at first, especially if we're used to seeking validation from others. But with time and practice, solitude becomes a gift rather than a challenge. It becomes a space where we can grow, heal, and thrive. And the self-love we cultivate in those moments of aloneness becomes a source of strength and peace that carries us through every area of our lives. So let us not fear being alone, but embrace it as an opportunity to reconnect with ourselves. Let us use those quiet moments to nurture our self-worth, to celebrate our uniqueness, and to grow in love for the person we are becoming. Because when we learn to love ourselves, we unlock a power that transforms not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us. Thank you. There is a unique strength that comes from embracing solitude, one that teaches us to rely on ourselves rather than constantly looking outward for support. Life will inevitably bring moments when we stand alone, when the comfort of companionship or the reassurance of others isn't readily available. In those moments, solitude becomes a teacher, showing us that we already have everything we need within us to persevere and thrive. When we embrace being alone, we build resilience, independence, and a deep inner trust that cannot be shaken. Solitude is not about isolation or loneliness. It's about finding a place within yourself where you are enough. In a world that often tells us we need others to feel complete, being alone can feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable at first. But as we lean into those moments, we begin to see that they are not empty, they are full of potential. In solitude, we realize that we are our own source of strength, our own encourager, and our own compass. It's a powerful realization that shifts how we navigate life. Being alone provides the space to discover what we're capable of. It challenges us to solve problems, make decisions, and take action without leaning on others for input or validation. At first, this can feel daunting, but with each step we take on our own, our confidence grows. We realize that we can handle more than we thought. And this builds a sense of independence that is both empowering and freeing. It's a reminder that while support from others is valuable, our ability to stand on our own is just as important. Solitude also helps us become more in tune with our own instincts and intuition. When we're constantly surrounded by people and noise, it's easy to doubt ourselves or second-guess our choices. But when we spend time alone, we can hear our own inner voice more clearly. We start to trust our gut feelings and make decisions that align with who we are. This self-reliance strengthens our resolve and gives us the courage to follow our own path, even when it differs from what others might expect. One of the most profound lessons of solitude is the realization that our worth is not dependent on external validation. When we are alone, there's no audience to impress, no one to seek approval from, just ourselves. This is where we learn to be content with who we are as we are. We come to understand that our value is intrinsic, not tied to achievements, relationships, or the opinions of others. This shift in perspective is liberating, and it allows us to approach life with a sense of calm and confidence. Solitude also teaches us the beauty of self-sufficiency. It's in those moments of being alone that we learn how to care for ourselves both physically and emotionally. We discover what brings us joy, what helps us heal, and what motivates us to keep going. This self-awareness and self-care become tools we carry with us, enabling us to face challenges with strength and grace. It's not about shutting others out, it's about knowing that we are whole on our own, which makes our connections with others even richer. As we embrace solitude, we begin to see it not as a void, but as a space for growth. It's where we shed the fears and doubts that hold us back and replace them with confidence and resilience. It's where we learn to face life's storms not with dependence, but with determination. Let us remember that being alone is not something to fear, but something to value. It is a time to discover our strength, nurture our independence, and grow in self-trust. Because when we learn to stand strong on our own, we are not just surviving, we are thriving. And that strength, born from solitude, will carry us through life with courage, clarity, and peace. Thank you, being alone is a profound opportunity to reconnect with the things that truly matter in life. When we step away from the noise and busyness of the world, we create a space where we can reflect on our priorities, recalibrate our focus, and rediscover what brings us peace and fulfillment. In solitude, we gain the clarity to evaluate whether we're living in alignment with our values or simply going through the motions. This intentional pause allows us to redirect our energy toward what truly counts. Life can sometimes feel like a whirlwind of commitments, responsibilities, and distractions. We're constantly juggling tasks, meeting expectations, and responding to demands that pull us in multiple directions. In this nonstop pace, it's easy to lose sight of what's most important. Being alone interrupts that cycle. It gives us the chance to step off the treadmill of daily life and ask ourselves meaningful questions. Am I spending my time on what matters most? Am I nurturing the relationships and passions that bring me joy? Solitude offers the space for these questions to surface and for honest answers to emerge. In these moments of reflection, we often realize that much of what consumes our attention isn't as significant as we thought. The endless emails, social media updates, or minor stresses fade into the background when we allow ourselves to focus on the bigger picture. Solitude reveals the beauty of simplicity, reminding us that a life well lived isn't about doing more, but about doing what matters. It's about choosing quality over quantity in how we spend our time, who we spend it with, and the goals we pursue. Solitude also deepens our appreciation for the people and experiences that bring us genuine happiness. When we step back from the constant interaction with others, we gain perspective on the relationships that truly enrich our lives. We recognize the friends who lift us up, the family members who support us, and the moments of connection that fill our hearts. This renewed perspective helps us approach our relationships with greater gratitude and intentionality, ensuring we invest our energy where it counts. Additionally, solitude provides the mental clarity needed to align our actions with our deepest values. When we're caught up in the demands of everyday life, it's easy to drift away from what's most important. But being alone allows us to recalibrate, to refocus our efforts on the things that truly matter. Whether it's pursuing a passion, spending quality time with loved ones, or contributing to a cause that aligns with our values, solitude helps us prioritize what's meaningful and let go of what isn't. There's also a profound sense of peace that comes from simplifying our lives. In solitude, we're reminded that we don't need to fill every moment with activity or every space with things. We learn to appreciate the beauty of stillness, the joy of less, and the fulfillment that comes from focusing on what truly brings us contentment. This simplicity isn't about giving up, it's about letting go of what doesn't serve us so we can make room for what does. As we cultivate the habit of spending time alone, we begin to see solitude as a gift rather than an inconvenience. It becomes a time to recharge, to reflect, and to reconnect with what truly matters. It's a reminder that we don't need to constantly seek fulfillment outside of ourselves. We already have everything we need within us. Let us embrace the power of being alone as an opportunity to refocus on the things that bring us peace, joy, and purpose. Let it be a time to shed the distractions and align our lives with what truly counts. Because when we live with intention and clarity, we not only enrich our own lives, but inspire those around us to do the same. In choosing what matters most,